Real Virginia is produced by the Virginia Farm Bureau Federation. Become a Farm Bureau member today.
Home will always be Virginia, between the Blue Ridge and Chesapeake Bay, Atlantic to Appalachia, home in my heart always.
Hello everyone and welcome to Real Virginia, a show about Virginia agriculture and the people who produce the wonderful products we enjoy. This month we're back in the kitchen of Kendra Bailey Morris as she prepares fresh asparagus. And later we visit a Virginia Century farm where multiple generations of families share the work. Plus we'll take you to where military veterans are finding a farming career when they return home from the service. Welcome back, everyone. We are here at Colorful Farms in Virginia Beach, Virginia, where there is just acres and acres of beautiful strawberries. And it's just that time of year. Spring has sprung, and it's time to get out into your gardens. And Andy Hankins, who is a cooperative extension specialist with Virginia State University, is here to tell us all about how to plant those early vegetables in your garden from the ground up.
In February, I took a soil test from this garden and sent it to the soil test lab at Virginia Tech for a home garden soil test. The current cost is $7 per sample, and we've gotten a report back here that gives us the recommendations for nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, the complete fertilizers, and we also got a report on the pH of the soil. Here the soil pH was 5.8, so we're getting a little bit of a acidity building up, which is common and natural in a garden. And so before we're planting today, we have amended the soil with lime. This is dolomitic limestone, and with a complete organic fertilizer. This is a 543 product made from pelletized poultry manure, and also with this good old goat manure that we get from the goat barns here at Virginia State University. All of these soil amendments help our crops grow vigorously and well. What we've done to plant asparagus today is we made a trench about 6 inches deep, and we've laid the asparagus crowns down 12 inches apart in the row. And all we're going to do to plant it is just cover it over with that soil, with the full 6 inches of the soil, and it'll come up and make ferns that are 3 feet tall. We can't harvest asparagus the first year, but next year we can harvest a little bit, and then in the 3rd, 4th, 5th year we can harvest the asparagus spears from about the middle of April through the middle of May every year. Now we're going to plant some cabbage and cauliflower and broccoli in this early season garden. And the first transplants that we're going to work with is this red cabbage, and we'll set them out 18 inches apart in the row. I just make a furrow and put my plants down, and then just firm some soil around the base of the plant. After I get the plant in the soil, I always like to give every plant a cup of water, water it in. Their forecast is for rain tonight, and that'll help these plants really get started growing. To plant potatoes, the first thing you need to do is buy some seed potatoes and cut your seed potato pieces like this. And to do that, you've got your seed potato, and you just cut it into pieces that I say are about 1.5 ounces. I usually get 6 good pieces from each seed potato. You want to make sure that each piece has an obvious eye that the plant can grow up from. I like to plant Irish potato seed pieces about 2 or 3 inches deep. So we make a trench and just set the seed pieces in the row about 12 inches apart, and then you just cover them over with soil. Many people plant them in a raised up in a hill, and that's fine too. I like to plant them in flat land, and as I hoe weeds, I pull the soil towards the row. Because if the potatoes come to the surface and the sun shines on them, they turn green, and you don't want that to happen. Peas should be planted, if possible, by St. Patrick's Day, March 17th every spring, but you can continue to plant them on until the middle of April. What we're planting today are the sugar snap peas. It's a variety called Sugar Sprint that does not need to be trellised. I plant them in a shallow furrow like this, 1 inch apart, and we're going to cover them with ½ an inch of soil. Plant early, they'll come up. If you planted these later in the summer, you would not have good luck, but you could plant them in late August or early September for a fall crop of peas. Onions don't need to be planted deep. I just set them 4 inches apart. You can really just press them down into the soil and the roots will grow and they will prosper. I just make a very shallow furrow for planting onions. It's such an easy crop to grow. Everyone should plant a spring garden so they have fresh onions available whenever they need them. This is Andy Hankins. I'll see you next time on From the Ground Up.
Virginia has a proud agricultural heritage dating back to the 1600s, and today we're going to visit a century farm in Rockbridge County where one family is still making a living off their land. Many descendants of Virginia's early farmers continue to produce food and fiber on much of the same farmland across the state. These farms are designated as Virginia Century Farms in honor of that historic legacy. Mack and daughter Margaret Ann Smith are the 5th and 6th generation farmers who raise beef cattle on the same rolling hills in Rockbridge County that their ancestors farmed 100 years ago.
There's 3 generations here on the farm at any given day, and they range from my grandparents that are 87 and 84, who are still very active, still feed cattle every day, are still very hands-on in management decisions, to my dad, my aunt, and my uncle, who all have their own individual operations within that. And then there's 4 of my generation here full-time. Myself, my brother, and 2 cousins are all here at the family farm.
When you look around and you say, well, you know, great-granddad or great-great-great-granddad built this or done that or cleared this land and cut the timber off of it, you know, made a cropland out of it. There's just something there, and it's been passed on to me from my parents, and I've passed it on to my kids.
Mack Smith works every day along with his daughter and son Marcus at the farm. They work hard to protect the land and continue to grow their business with diversification. That has always been the key to keeping their farm profitable.
A lot of this land was in timber. It was cleared. There was poultry. There still is poultry. I have a brother who has a poultry operation. My granddad ranged turkeys on these hills. There was a country cured ham business at one time. We was in an egg business. We a lot of layers at one time.
Protecting the land and water supply is another lesson also passed down to each new generation.
It's extremely important for us to be environmentally sound. This is my family's heritage. This is our asset. This is our livelihood. If we don't take care of it, it won't be here for the next generation.
The whole family agrees, knowing that their farm is a Virginia Century farm is humbling.
Both of them are out of college. Both of them are back here farming full-time with us. God is proud. I mean, why could you not be proud?
We're part of a multi-generational operation that has been able to be sustainable and be successful enough to keep passing it on. It's something to have a lot of pride in.
To find out more about the Farm program, go to vdacs.virginia.gov/century.
Nestled at the lower end of the Shenandoah Valley is Rockbridge County, one of the most scenic and mountainous areas in Virginia. The 805 farms here are almost all livestock operations, with 1,700 head of cattle and 1,000 head of dairy cows. Rockbridge County is the 8th largest beef cattle locality in the state, and the top crop is definitely hay, with almost 26,000 acres of hayland harvested each year. There are also 1,500 sheep in the county and several wineries. Altogether, these farm operations generate almost $16 million in cash receipts for farmers in Rockbridge County, Virginia.
Up next on Real Virginia, we learn a quick and easy way to prepare some of the fresh asparagus Andy Hankins planted in the heart of the home with Kendra Bailey Morris.
Hi, I'm Mark Viette. Coming up on In the Garden, I'm going to give you some great tips on how to achieve that attractive lawn. So stay with us.
I was born and raised on a dairy farm in western Rockingham County here in the Shenandoah Valley. Well, the barn here is a we-cover barn. It's a loose housing compost barn. The large fans that are in the barn are 24 feet in diameter, so it's blowing the heat and humidity off the cows and keeping the cows very comfortable. When we built the barn and first put the cows in it, we saw the milk increase 3 to 4 pounds a cow a day. Anytime you have a comfortable cow, you always have a clean, wholesome environment. And the better the environment is for the cow, the better the quality of the milk. The more comfortable we can keep the cows, the better we can treat the cows, the better they will treat us as far as milk production, putting more milk in the tank. I'm Gerald Heatwell, a third-generation dairy farmer from Virginia, and I'm dedicated to dairy, our cows, our milk, and our land.
There is nothing like fresh asparagus in the spring, and Kendra Bailey Morris joins us today with a wonderful recipe preparing asparagus for entertaining in the heart of the home.
Hi, I'm Kendra Bailey Morris, and welcome to the Heart of the Home. Today we're going to make one of my favorite recipes, which is really easy. It's a roasted asparagus with feta cheese and toasted walnuts. It's a dish that's perfect as a side dish, but also really great as a salad. And what we're going to start by doing is taking some fresh asparagus. And asparagus in Virginia is in season around April, May, and sometimes into June if you're lucky. And so if you get to your farmer's market, make sure that you can get yourself the freshest, best asparagus that they have. And the best way to approach asparagus is you want to make sure that you snap these really tough ends off. And if you're not sure where to do that, a lot of times if you break it, it takes care of itself. If you want a cleaner look, this is obviously going to have a little bit of an edge to it. You just take a knife and you cut off these white ends, so your asparagus will roast a lot easier, and you don't really want those tough ends. They're hard to chew, and they're not very tasty. So I'm going to take my asparagus and put it on a sheet pan, and this is going to go in the oven and roast for about 15 to 18 minutes, not too long, at 400 degrees. And I'm going to start by just putting a little olive oil on top, and then I'm going to just rub it in real good. I would say for one bunch of asparagus, you could probably use about 2 tablespoons of olive oil. If you're trying to cut back on the fat, you could do a little bit less than that. And I just massage that olive oil in a little bit, not too much. And then I'm going to put a little bit of black pepper. I got to get my hands clean here. And a little bit of sea salt in here, just a little bit. And then I'm actually going to just roll it around one more time. Now this asparagus is going to be cooked in a single layer on a baking sheet, like I said, in 400 degrees for about 12 to 15 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and put this in the oven. Now this is how your asparagus comes out once it's finished. As you can see, it has a really beautiful caramelization to it. It's softened up quite a bit. And once you roast any type of vegetable for that matter, it's going to give it, that caramelization is going to give it a lot of sweet taste. So it won't have that typical bitter taste that an undercooked asparagus spear would have. And so what we're going to do is we are going to take our asparagus, put it on the platter, like so, and get it ready for the next stage of things. Now what I have here are some toasted walnuts, and in order to toast walnuts really easily, you can do it in a sheet pan and just kind of toss them around till they get a little bit brown, but you want to watch them closely because they have a tendency to burn very quickly. Once it starts they burn. And also with that, they get a rancid smell to them. So I've already done that ahead of time. I'm going to set that aside. Now I have some feta cheese, and this is just like a basic, very tart, piquant, if you will, feta cheese that I'm going to top my asparagus with. And again, you can use a lot or a little depending on how much cheese you like on things. But then I've got some aged balsamic vinegar, and aged balsamic vinegar is a lot sweeter. It's a little bit more syrupy. It's basically aged in casks much in the same way that red wine is aged. And so I'm going to just drizzle a little bit of that on top. And then I've got my toasted walnuts, and all I'm going to do is sprinkle them on top. And here you have it. We have roasted asparagus with feta cheese and toasted walnuts. For the Heart of the Home, I'm Kendra Bailey Morris. Let's get cooking.
Recipes from the Heart of the Home can be found on the Virginia Farm Bureau website at vafarmbureau.org.
While Native American Indians were growing food long before the Europeans arrived in America, the first record of agriculture as an industry is recognized as 1614 in Virginia. Colonists sent their first commercial shipment of tobacco to England across the Atlantic in 1614. Farming helped to pull the settlers out of starvation. To celebrate their efforts, the Virginia Department of Motor Vehicles offers a Farming Since 1614 license plate that supports the preservation of Virginia's working farms and forest land. $15 of the annual $25 fee per plate goes to the Office of Farmland Preservation to help preserve agriculture for the future. In recent years, military veterans have had a tough time finding a job when they came home from service, and many may not have considered a career in farming. But as Norm Hyde reports, there's a movement ahead to bring those veterans back to their agricultural roots on the farm.
Virginia possesses a proud military tradition, and thousands of military veterans leave the service every year. At the same time, the average age of a Virginia farmer is more than 58 years old, and some people believe military service is great training for the rigors and technical challenges of full-time farming.
Now, to be a farmer, you have to know a little bit of climatology, a little bit of agronomics, a little soil science, botany. There's so many things you have to know, and most of them fix everything. Mechanic, plumber, whatever. And as farmers die off, that is a body of knowledge that's dying.
Virginia Beach produce grower John Wilson serving as a part-time farming mentor to Coleman Ruiz, a recently retired Navy SEAL. Ruiz and his wife are both Navy veterans trying to get a start in agriculture, but they face some of the same challenges would-be farmers face everywhere.
We realized John makes a living at it, and we met a few other people in the area who make a living at it, so I realized we could do it at some point. For us, frankly, it's not possible right now because of where we are and the cost of land.
It's a challenge Wilson hopes they can solve along with other military veterans. He agrees military service is a great background for new farmers.
I think now that it's a national security issue, that we create a food system, a local or regional food system everywhere in the country, and that we reverse the trend where we're buying so much of our food from other countries. That demand for farmers is going to have to be filled in, and that does not happen quick.
The Ruiz family and Wilson are being featured in an upcoming documentary film, Farmy, an Army of Farmers, which focuses on veterans who are transitioning from military careers into farming and ranching. The goal is to encourage more military veterans to consider agriculture as a viable career opportunity.
In a perfect utopia, I would have my own farm with 20 veterans running different aspects of the farm. So yes, I would invite more veterans out to agriculture. The reason why is because the sense of service, the already habitual hard work, the idea that getting your hands dirty means something to them.
There are already several other programs in Virginia that help would-be farmers research and start a career in agriculture, such as the Beginning Farmer Program and FarmLink. Wilson would love to see more military veterans consider it a career option as well. He'd be happy to teach them.
The farm has been in the family for 134 years. This has been my home. It's the only thing I've known.
Growing up on a dairy farm was great. You've got all the opportunities to have fun in the wide open spaces and enjoy working with the crops and the cattle.
It's a great way of life for your children.
I love working with animals.
I believe that the family farm is important in this country, no matter if it's 50 cows or 5,000 cows. A lot of the family farms consume their own products, and they realize the importance of having a good, healthy product.
I am proud that our family and all of us here at this farm at Walkup can be involved in producing nutritious milk for the society. I'm Dan Myers, a fifth-generation dairy farmer from Virginia. I am dedicated to dairy, my cows, my milk, and my land.
There are a couple things you need to keep in mind when you're dealing with your lawn after the winter. If you have a few weeds, you're going to treat your lawn differently than if you have a lot of weeds. The other thing is you might want to apply a fertilizer in the spring. Of course, I always recommend fertilizing in the fall. It's one of the best time periods because it builds up that root system to prevent soil erosion. You might use a pre-emergent weed control to prevent weeds from germinating in the lawn. At the same time, these products, and they might say controls weeds for 6 months, 3 months, 4 months. They probably kill existing weeds in your lawn, then they prevent weeds from germinating. It's important to remember, they'll also prevent your grass seed from germinating. So you need to use those products and seeding your lawn, months apart. Lots of things compete with a healthy lawn. One of those is right beside me. It is a huge maple tree. Not only that, it is a silver maple tree, which is well known to take all the moisture out of the ground. The roots of silver maple trees grow right along the surface, and they can be 3 to 4 inches wide. They even lift up concrete. So your lawn is competing for that very little bit amount of water. What happens after that is the lawn may die out in areas and weeds come in. Weeds like chickweed and Bermuda grass. So then you have to go in and control those weeds. This is the mouse-eared or small-leaved chickweed. And if you look carefully, you'll see a lot of weeds right next to this large tree root from this maple tree. So not a lot of things will grow. What do? One thing you can do is come in with a little topsoil or top dress it and reseed it so this does not hit your lawnmower. The other thing that you need to really keep in mind is always try to mow your lawn at least 3, and I really recommend 4 inches tall. If you mow your lawn tall, the tall blades of grass will really choke out a lot of weeds. You can buy a product like Easy Seed that's already mixed with organic matter. And that means, normally you just stand, but when you look down closely, you have a couple bare spots, you can just go like this. It's got a material that holds moisture plus the seed together. You're set, you're done, irrigate it, it'll germinate. But if you've got large areas that really are empty, you might just need to go out and get a seed by itself and then just seed either by hand or with a seeder. But one thing we have found that really helps in the germination process is to top dress with some type of organic matter. There's so many different types. And here is one that is nice and fine and it's crumbled. It's like compost and it does have some nutrients in it. And you would just come in, even with the spreader, and top dress on top of the seed, and then your lawn is ready to be irrigated. And just in maybe anywhere from 4 to 10 weeks, you will have a nice, brand new germinating lawn. For new lawns, it is important to consider using what we call a starter fertilizer. That is designed specifically for a lawn that you've just seeded. And you can also use later, or for an existing lawn, organic fertilizers. This fertilizer system, you just drop the bag in, it's got a guard so fertilizer does not get on your walkways, and it covers a 5-foot area. It's already set. All you do is just walk like this. Then you walk back the other way. Do not crisscross your lawn back and forth. Then you'll be applying too much fertilizer. But it's really just that easy. I'm Mark Viette. Join me next time in the garden.
For more garden tips, go to inthegardenradio.com.
We're so glad you could join us this month to celebrate the bounty that is Virginia. Whether it's in your own garden, your home, or your kitchen, or out in our wide open spaces, we're so proud to bring you Real Virginia. So for everyone from the Virginia Farm Bureau, thanks for watching. Make it a good month.
Home will always be Virginia, between the Blue Ridge and Chesapeake Bay, Atlantic to Appalachia.